In this video, we're going to show you step-by-step how to write, record, and run profitable YouTube ads to scale your business. And to do this, I've brought on a YouTube ad wizard who's generated over $200 million in revenue through YouTube ads over the past decade, and he's going to reveal all of his secrets to you right here in this masterclass. If you commit to watching this entire video, here's what you're going to learn. How to script a wildly profitable YouTube ad in 15 minutes or less using the 3-step winning ad formula. The time-tested best practices for filming a YouTube ad for maximizing revenue and reach. The simple way to set up, run, and scale YouTube ads using the exact settings you need to use in order to get maximum performance. And how to use Erhart's Alpha AI targeting strategy in order to get your ads in front of the right people at the right time, so you can generate as many conversions as possible. I'm really excited to get to share this masterclass with you. I learned a ton, and I'm sure that you will too. So sit back, grab a notepad, maybe some coffee, let's dive in.
Excellent. So what we're going to be able to do is first dive into exactly how to script out a winning YouTube ad. There's kind of 3 main components of that winning YouTube ad I'll walk you through, and then we'll be able to kind of set that up for yourself. Then from there, the next step is really going to be diving in and setting up those ad campaigns on YouTube. So taking that video that would be filmed based on that script, and we'll dive into how to film the video, how to put it all together. Then from there, we want to take that video and target it in front of the right people at the right time. And the way to do that is with what I call our Alpha AI targeting strategy. So leveraging and training YouTube and Google's AI to target your ideal clients when they have intent. And the way to do that is really based on what they're searching for on Google, on YouTube, websites they might be on, in-market interests that they have. We're going to show you how to build out those audiences and even show you how to use an AI tool that's going to make the process a lot easier too. So I'm excited to dive in.
That's perfect, my man. Let's do all of that.
Excellent. So kicking it off, the first thing that we really need to make sure that we master is going to be crafting a winning YouTube ad. One of the biggest things that people get wrong is not providing value in the ad. If you think about it, one of the reasons that YouTube ads work so well is people are on YouTube to learn. They're in the learner's mindset. I mean, that's why people go to your channel. They're there to learn marketing. They're watching, videos like this to learn marketing. And so what we can do is reach people who are in the learner's mindset. We'll talk about how to target that in just a second. But first, we got to talk about what to give them. So a lot of people make the mistake of creating a video that doesn't actually have real substance or value. And it sounds a little bit like this, right? Hey, do you have this problem? Okay, go sign up for my thing. But the problem with that is that just blends in with all the other type of ads, and it doesn't feel native to YouTube. We want to create an ad that actually scratches that itch of providing a little bit of value inside of the ad. So as if, people are going on YouTube, they're trying to figure out how to solve a problem. If you can give them a few key pieces of information, that's going to get them to trust you. And then that's going to get them more likely to actually take action and opt into that next step. So you're sending people to a training, that can then lead to a call, that can lead to a client. You're training people on how to build an agency, right? What we can do is craft a YouTube ad that has a hook. It draws people in. It educates, provides value, teaches them a little bit about maybe what they don't know about building an agency, misconceptions, some of the top tips, and then gives them a call to action to get them to take action from there. So it goes hook, educate, call to action. The hook draws people in. The educate provides some value, call them golden nuggets. And then the call to action at the end is what's going to get them to actually take action off of that video.
Perfect. And so for the educate part, is there like a good length that we're shooting for? Is this a 3-minute or like a 3-hour or somewhere in the middle?
Yeah. So in terms of the educate, what you want to do is, and just in general, with the overall ad, typically we found about 3 minutes is a good amount of time to shoot for. That's also what YouTube recommends as well. Now, YouTube will tell you if you have a video longer than 3 minutes, it'll say that it might reduce the performance. And that can be true, but only if your video isn't as engaging as you want. It's not like there's a little trigger where if it's like 3 minutes and 1 second, it doesn't perform as well.
Algorithm flags it and wipes it.
Exactly. It's more Google recommending 3 minutes or less, but I would really recommend above 2 minutes. So really 2 to 3 minutes is a sweet spot, but we have some ads, like even some of our own ads and clients that are running 4 or 5 minute long ads. You can go longer, but typically I would say 2 to 5 minutes is going to be that sweet spot. But let's just base it off of a 3-minute ad. You'd have a 30-second hook, draws people in, primes them, gets them excited. then you would have about a 1 to 2 minute educate section. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. One is you can teach on one particular thing, or you can maybe cover 3 like bullet points or aha moments. What I like to do is give kind of 3 either misconceptions, tips, things they may or may not know that's going to give them an aha moment and get them to say, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And then the call to action at the end is another like 30, 45 seconds. And that gets them to take action off of that video and opt into whatever that next step is.
Okay, perfect. So we've got the framework then. So are there, I guess, 2 things that come to mind immediately are, first of all, like what those hooks and the call to action looks like. I think we've got a pretty good feel for the educate. And then also the format and the style of, like, are we talking iPhone horizontal recording? Are we talking fully polished Hollywood level production?
Yeah. So honestly, what we found is that authentic works the best. So a lot of people, they want to do kind of the big, productions. But actually on YouTube, we found more authentic ads. So your iPhone, a gimbal, it's a little tool that you can get that stabilizes the phone. I know you know that, but somebody watching, right, you can get this little gimbal. You look it up on Amazon, it stabilizes that iPhone. And that's going to create a really powerful video that you can use that feels more authentic. Because if you think about it, we're trained to tune out advertisements.
Yes.
Right. From a very young age, turning on the television, back then, you'd have the ads that play, be like, all right, I'm going to go, get some snacks or whatever. So we're trained from an early age to tune it out. And so the best form of marketing is marketing that feels authentic, feels natural. I know I'm preaching to the choir here.
It's good to hear. It's still good to hear.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it feels authentic and natural, and it feels like the value they're looking for already on YouTube. And so when we reach people, so for instance, for you, what we'd really want to do is have some type of hook that captures their attention. We'll do a little exercise on that, and then also show, how you can even use AI to help with this stuff too. But we'll do a little exercise on that in a second. But there's a hook that pulls people in, and then you're providing value, you're educating. And then finally, you've got that call to action. The educate section is where you'd want to actually provide some real value there and maybe show people some things that they may or may not know about starting or growing an agency.
Amazing.
So with the hook, this is the exercise that I love. And this is something that you can do watching this video. It's an elevator pitch. It's a little bit of an elevator pitch. That's the first hook that you can do. Now, there's other hooks, but that's a great starting point. So, Adam, this is a question for you. Like, if you were to give an elevator pitch for that, agency growth offer that you have, like, what would that 30-second elevator pitch be?
Yeah, it would essentially be, do you have or want to start an agency and scale it to 10 to 20K a month consistently, bringing in 5, 10, even 20 new clients with predictability? If so, we have a system, a collection of systems that we can use and install into your agency that can get you there essentially within the next 90 days to 6 months. So that's sort of the broad strokes approach of it. So it's someone that or they've got an agency, they've got like 1 or 2 clients, and they're really struggling to like hit those consistent 10 to 20K months. And they need those systems. They're spreading themselves too thin. They've got all these different niches and services and offers. We've got to focus them in, and then we just have to put them on this proven path. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Perfect. And so what you can do is you can take that first piece, which is really asking, do you have an agency? You're looking to grow an agency to get to $10,000 to $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then instead of saying what the offer is, the slight change is in this video, I'll show you how you can. Now, part of the how is then to go to the training and then to book a call.
Right.
But we want to slightly shift. So that's perfect as that elevator pitch there. And then what we'll do is we'll just slightly shift the wording to show how we're going to show them how this is possible in this video. Now, we don't have enough time in the video to teach them everything. That's the program that we're enrolling people into. However, we have enough time in the video to show them how it's possible. So that's like kind of your initial cornerstone hook that you can use. And then what you can do is you can kind of expand off of it. So I like pattern interrupt hooks too. What's something that's really surprising that maybe people get wrong with growing an agency, or something that like you help people with, you see as a big misconception? Is there something that's kind of like maybe a pattern interrupt that they wouldn't really get off the bat, but it's going to be an aha moment for someone?
Yeah, good question. There's a bunch. So the big ones, the big mistakes are tons and tons of niches. So they'll do plumbing, roofing, HVAC, all of the things all at once. The other mistake they make is they'll do all of the services. So they do Facebook ads and organic content and web design and SEO and all of the things, and they need to focus in. The other thing is spending 90% of the time on non-revenue generating activities. So it's like designing a fancy website, building a really pretty logo, doing all the things that make you look really good, but like never make any money. So the big thing, I think, the pattern interrupt would essentially be you actually have to stop. I don't want to say working, but like you've got to stop doing these things. Stop building a website, stop making a logo, stop working on your agency. And basically all we need to do is make a few very simple call to actions to a few very simple clients, do it repetitively, and you can make more money than you ever dreamed.
I love it. And so
Okay.
I picked a couple pieces out of there. And so I think a really good potential hook is you need to stop working on your agency to scale your agency.
Right.
If you're watching this video and you're looking to scale your agency to $10,000, $20,000 a month or more, I'm actually going to tell you something that you might surprise you. You actually need to stop working on your agency. All those things that you're doing right now to build your website, to build your logos, to go out and do X, Y, and Z, those different things. Those are just really spinning your wheels and not getting you the traction that you think it is. And that's actually slowing you down from scaling the agency that you want to build. And so in this video, I want to cover the 3 big things that you need to know when you're scaling your agency. And then from there, from there, you'll teach them that.
I love it.
You see, you can pick these little pieces out. So now let's do one more. What would you say is one of the biggest problems that people have when they are trying to grow like an agency like this that you're seeing at that 10, 20K mark? What would you say is like one of the biggest problems that people come to you with?
So the biggest one is pretty much what some of those other problems that they had. So the biggest one is this, I guess there's a few. A big one's imposter syndrome, where it's like, I'm not ready yet. I don't have the skills. I'm not like, I see all these guys, I see you there, and all of these marketers, and I can't come up with those thoughts right away. So who am I to even do this? The second thing is really doing all of the things. So it's like, I hate the analogy, but it is really the jack of all trades, master of none. It's like they think they have to, and that's how they're going to compete. And they end up becoming these vanilla, ignorable, completely boring agencies that like, we do marketing for businesses, and then they sound like everybody else. So I think of those ones, it's a combination of doing like the one that we just said, doing all the things, and then also this sense of imposter syndrome because you don't know what you don't know, and they just can't see it. So a really good example is when I first started my agency well over a decade ago, I remember looking at ads and people saying, we'll help you build a 7-figure agency. And I remember thinking, forget it. That's ridiculous. That's a scam. That's a lie. No one makes that kind of money. That's not even real. But the second I heard someone say, we'll help you make 10K a month or 5K a month, I bought in because I was like, well, I could maybe do that. So it's like the goals that they have for themselves are already probably lower than I would like them to be. But anything that feels beyond that just sounds ridiculous and totally unachievable.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is that exact clip right there could actually be a really good ad. Right.
Right.
When I say, because you actually have a few of the different elements, and I've got another idea from what you've told me there. But what you said right there could actually be the ad where it's kind of conversational. Right. When I started my agency a decade ago, I didn't really think it was possible. I saw all these videos just like this one. People were talking about growing an agency to $1 million, a year. People were doing these big numbers, and I remember just thinking like, that seems so far out of reach.
Right.
And it wasn't until somebody told me that you can build a $10,000 to $20,000 a month agency, and here's how, that it really clicked for me. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, is you striving to build $1 million agency could actually be stopping you from growing the agency that can replace your income and actually, build the business that you want. And
I like it.
I'm going to talk about the 3 big things, then boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then go from there. So that could actually be a really good hook right there.
That's cool. Then, well, it's funny. I didn't think it was a good hook until you said it back. And then I was like, that is a good hook. So yes, thank you for rephrasing that. That's solid. Okay, cool. So I feel like we've got a handle, and I think anybody watching as well, they're going to get like, all right, this is what we've got to do. And here's the hook that we need to lead with. The educate, I think, is going to come because we're going to talk about it. Call to action, 30 to 40 seconds in my brain coming from like, say, the Facebook ad world, where it's like a one call to action. It's like, click the link. That sounds like a long one to me. Like, how do I make this a 30-second call to action? Am I saying this is why you want to do it, or here's what you're going to expect?
Oh yeah. So 3 call to actions inside of the ad. The way you got to think about it too. So with YouTube ads, when the ad is done, it's like the video plays to the next video on YouTube. Right. So you have these call to actions, and it's kind of the rule of 3, right? You want to repeat 3 times to get them to take action. So there's obviously really big benefits on YouTube, getting in front of people, their audio, their video is on, they're watching, they're in the learner's mindset, right? Versus kind of scrolling through. That said, one of the potential downsides is when that ad is done, it's done, right? If they either skip it or the ad concludes, sometimes there's a little bit of a 5-second counter, depends on how long the ad is, but like the little counter there that you've seen where it says, hey, do you want to take action? And then go take action from that. That said, you have that period of time. So what we want to do is we want to maximize it, and we really want to get people to click. And we want to force a decision at the end of the ad where I would rather have people choose to either click the call to action or click skip.
100%.
Because I want to force action, because by forcing action, we're going to get naturally more people to take the action that we want.
Right.
We don't want the passive viewer just to say, click the link to go sign up for the training, and then the ad ends and they don't need to do anything. I'd rather ask them a few times and get them to either click that link, or if they're going to click skip, they're going to click skip, but then get the people who are on the fence off the fence. Naturally, that will cause more people to take action. And that's what we want to do. So in the call to action, you do CTA 1, then you're kind of reinforcing the value. So the call to action 1, we reinforce the value. Then from there, we do the call to action 2. And then you're going to add a little bit of extra urgency. And then you do the call to action 3 and kind of a friendly exit. An example of what this can look like for you. And so what's the training called, or where are you sending people?
Exactly. The program is Agency Accelerator.
Okay.
And essentially, it's a 6-month program designed to do everything we've talked about up till now.
Awesome. Excellent. And so are you sending people directly to a call, or are they going to like a training like that they're watching?
Yeah. So they go through the way that we have it set up. Actually, this will be another point. We have the funnel set up where they can opt in with name, email, phone, or what we've been doing organic on YouTube is we send them straight to the VSL with no opt-in required.
Okay.
So it's like on YouTube, because they've already presumably watched enough of our stuff, we'll just send them without needing to opt in. I'm assuming we're going to run a YouTube ad similar to any other ad platform where we'll collect name, email, phone. Good. Okay. So then they put that in, get the training on how to case study, tend to grow an agency 10 to 15K, et cetera, et cetera. Phase 2 or page 2 then is the VSL with the calendar booking. Then it's the confirmed page after that. So yes.
Perfect. So we would want to collect name, email, phone number, all of that. That's just it's also going to give us more data to then get who's leads, the lead data, and then from there applications and then clients. Yeah. And so what we'd want to do based off of that is we'd want to have a call to action that then leads people to that training, of course. Right. And so what we do is something along these lines. So now that you've seen just how powerful building your own agency can be, I want to invite you to click the link right here on the screen, and you're going to be able to get access to our training and case study on how you can grow a $10,000 to $15,000 a month agency. We're going to dive in more in depth into what we covered in this video, but more in depth on exactly how this works. All you got to do is click the link right here on the screen. You'll get to a page that looks just like this. And on that page, you've got to put in your details, click get access, and then you're going to be able to get access to this full training. Now, if you're watching this video right now, that means that the training is available. So now is the time to click it. That way you get the specific link to that training. Just click the link right here on the screen, and I will see you on the inside.
Matt, it's like you've done it before, my friend. Yeah, a few times. Yeah,
thank you.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, that sounds perfect. I feel comfortable, I gotta say. I mean, like after having made as many videos and hearing your framework there and that system, that all sounds good. So we get the video. Do I want to have, say, multiple different versions of hooks with the same content, or do I just record, say, 5 or 6 different videos and we're good to go there, dump them all in?
Great question. So we have what we call the Lego block strategy. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to film each section individually. We recommend filming, and you hit the nail on the head, 5, 6 different hooks. Yeah. Typically, educate sections, usually about 2 different educate sections. Call to action, really you just need the one, unless you have different funnels. Yeah. So essentially, let's say you have 6 different hooks, and there's a few variations that we put in there. Then you have 2 different educate sections. With educate, just to close the loop on that, we'd want to do like kind of one longer educate. So either, it's take that 1-2 minutes on one particular topic. Right. And then the other version of the educate is you cover kind of 3 like quick, hit bullet points. These are kind of value pieces of information. Yeah. I think, we don't necessarily need to dive deep into that on, right now, but essentially what you'd be able to do is take those, and that's going to be your educate section. Then from there, you just put the call to action. And so essentially you film hook 1, hook 2, hook 3, hook 4, hook 5, hook 6, all back to back.
Yeah.
But not the whole rest of the video. Then you film educate 1, educate 2, and then you film the call to action. It feels like you filmed 2 to 3 videos, but you actually end up with a dozen different variations.
Right. Thank you to the magic of editing, where they splice and dice, hence the Lego blocks. And so, okay, that's amazing. So then we talked about keeping it relatively casual. Say, put your iPhone on a gimbal. Do we know movement, no movement, outside, inside, messy bedroom? I got a funny story for you. You'd appreciate this one. I saw a YouTube ad, like, I don't even know how many years ago, when it first came out. And there was this guy filming his YouTube ad in a bedroom with, like, you know, the mirrored sliding doors, and he had like a dirty mattress leaning up against it, but it was like millions and millions of views. So we can only assume, we don't have the back end data, but like we could only assume this thing was crushing it. I was like, so I got to go get weird mirrored doors and a dirty mattress, and that's the secret.
I know, it's always crazy what like performs the best. I remember, you know, like it's funny too. We've had some clients who are like, oh, I'm just gonna film like, you know, just like an MVP just to like get it to work. I'm not going to polish it up. And then it just converts so well. And then they try to film the more professional, professional one. And I'm like, hey, I mean, if it's converting here, but let's always split test. Let's always try to beat the control. And then they can't beat it. They're like, you know, but anyways, it's always so funny. It's like the you know, kind of ugly like landing pages.
Exactly.
You keep working. So honestly, it's really about being authentic and what's going to make the most sense, you know, for you and your offer. So like for you, I think, you know, filming in your office is going to be really great. I do recommend the iPhone and gimbal over direct webcam. Just that little extra, because you do the gimbal, it's going to stabilize it, but the little extra motion, that's actually going to make it feel a little bit more authentic. And so I would say for you, it's probably going to be good in your office. I do a lot of ads. You've probably seen something like in this office. We have people, though, that'll walk up and down the street. You know, if people are doing more of like a lifestyle business, they might be, you know, out on the beach or whatever it happens to be. You know, we have people that will do like stuff with a whiteboard. So really, it's just going to depend. I do recommend, though, like a big thing. And I know you know this, but for anybody else watching, like it is really important, especially for the hook. But I do recommend throughout the video for most people to, you know, be that person on camera. Like it's you talking to the camera. Even if you go into a computer demo or, you know, some stuff that you're going to be showcasing on that later. Always, you know, you want to be kind of face to camera, talking and representing it. It's going to be the best.
Perfect. I mean, again, the expression I love is like, people don't like doing business with business. They like doing business with people. So it's like, the more that we can humanize our brands and business, magic. Okay, cool. So we've got our videos. They've been spliced and diced. We've got like, say, a dozen of them ready to go. Now what? Now's the messy part, the mechanics. What do we do? Where do we?
So now we've got the videos, we've got them edited, and the next step is diving in and getting them set up inside of Google Ads, which is where you're able to run YouTube ads. So what I'm excited about is we're going to be able to dive into the computer screen and actually show you step by step what this looks like.
Awesome.
Now, in addition to that, I've also got kind of a PDF that breaks down some of these steps as well. So I'll be giving that to you, Adam, and you'll be able to kind of put that link. And you can also follow along both here on the video and in the PDF. And so what we could do is we can hop over to my computer screen and walk you through.
Let's do that now. All right, so here we are inside the Google Ads dashboard, which I appreciate. So again, it's funny because like most of my ads experience is from, say, the Facebook ads dashboard. And then it's interesting because obviously Google Ads has been around well before that. And they've, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's like Facebook seems to have changed like a million things. They keep changing it, whereas Google Ads has been relatively consistent over the years. Like they may have moved a few things around, but it's still relatively, I don't want to say, certainly not intuitive if you've never done it before, but like it kind of makes sense.
Exactly. So it makes sense, and they move a few things around. Sometimes they rename a couple of things, but in general, a lot of the base, you know, features and settings have stayed constant. That said, the way that ads are targeted, that is one thing that has changed. And what we're going to be talking about is how to use what we call our alpha AI targeting strategy. So this is going in and targeting your ideal clients by training Google's AI on who you're looking to reach, right? One of the things that I talk about is, you know, you can go and just target people based on some of Google's pre-built audiences. We'll show you how to do that. But when you do that, you're going to get kind of baseline or beta results, right? It's kind of like buying the S&P 500. You're going to do well if you know what you're doing, you click the right buttons, you use kind of the standard targeting. But we want to achieve alpha results, right? We're going after the best results here as, marketers and watching this video. You're not just looking for, the beta baseline results.
Average won't cut it. Average won't cut it.
Exactly. Average won't cut it. We want to get those alpha results. So that's where the alpha AI targeting strategy comes into play.
Okay.
What I'm going to show you how to do is how to target people based on, what people are looking up on Google and on YouTube, which is search intent, URLs and websites they might have gone on. And also what they're potentially interested in based on Google's data, and actually building custom audiences to train the AI to achieve even better results than the average by training the AI. Just like in the world of the stock market, right? One of the best, roles there and jobs in Wall Street are these quants. They train the AI algorithms on how to achieve alpha results in the stock market. We want to do the same thing, but here inside of the ad platform.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Makes sense.
Perfect. So we're here, we're in our kind of dummy client demo account here. And what I want to do is I want to show you step by step exactly how to set up these ads, some of the different features that we recommend. Now, I'm also going to, like I mentioned, there'll be the PDF down below that kind of walks through some of these steps as well.
Perfect.
And what I want to do is kind of walk you through. Now, each business is going to be a little bit different. So again, this is kind of the overarching method, but as with any type of ads, sometimes certain things will move around, and then also it's going to have to apply specifically to, your business might be a little bit different. So we'll use yours as an example, Adam, but
cool.
If you're watching this, just apply what we're talking about to your business and your goals.
Yeah. Important point, right? It's always based on, say, principles and strategy, and then the tactics become... It's so funny, when we're first getting started in any marketing endeavor, the tactics always feel like the most important. But it's look, if we can get the bulk and the meat of the potatoes and the strategy and the principles and the fundamentals right, it doesn't matter if they move a button here or there or switch it around. So, okay, I'm ready.
Excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here inside of our Google Ads account. There's a couple things that you want to do to prep. I'm not going to spend as much time on that because there's other, kind of videos that can talk a little bit about that. We cover it some in our PDF, but really making sure that you are setting up your Google Ads account. If you haven't already, Google gives, $500 coupon. Usually, sometimes they have different coupon stuff. You can just look that up for your region. You go sign up for Google Ads. If you haven't already, you're going to go over here to goals. You're going to go to conversions. And then you're going to go and actually set up your goals. Like I said, this is just kind of like one of our, kind of demo accounts.
Yeah.
So we've got a few different things in here. But really what you're going to do is you're going to click, new conversion action. It's going to walk you through the steps, website. You're going to then put in your site. It's going to actually scan it, which is kind of cool. They have, they've added some features over time where they'll look at your site. Once you have the tag installed, if you don't have it installed, they'll walk you through the steps. So Google makes it pretty step-by-step to set up conversions. But when we talk about conversions later, you want to track the sign up. So for instance, Adam's going to want to make sure that he tracks, okay, who's signing up for this training? Okay, who's submitting an application for a call? And then, you can port back offline conversions, or if there's a way to track, online, conversions for sales as well. And so that's one thing that you're going to want to do, and set up those conversions in there. Of course, you're going to set up your billing, here in Google Ads. There's some basics, but once you've done that, the next step is going in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to admin and then linked accounts. And then this is where you're going to be able to scroll down. You'll see YouTube. You're going to click manage and link. And then once you get there, you're going to click this blue plus button. You're going to paste the URL of your YouTube channel. And then it's going to have you confirm your identity with that channel to then be able to link the view counts, remarketing, engagement. You want to set all the permissions to yes, and then that will link that YouTube channel. Now, once the channel is linked, you're going to be able to build audiences around that as well. And the way to do that is to go over to Tools, go to Shared Library, and then Audience Manager. Then inside of there, you're going to click the Create Remarketing List. And this is where you'll be able to create remarketing lists around your website visitors, Google Analytics. In the future, you can upload a customer list. For now, we're going to do YouTube users. So we'll click YouTube users. Then we're going to go here to the segment name. Let's call this one subscribers. And then 540 days. So this is going to get subscribers. We're going to create a 540-day bucket. Now, it only pre-fills the last 30 days. So that's important to note. However, it'll actually open this up 540 days into the future. So it'll continue to fill as it gets more subscribers. So you're going to choose the channel that you just linked from this list. So you choose that channel, and then you're going to change this to subscribers, subscribe to the channel, and then you're going to change this to past 540 days. Now, it's worth noting that you can only pre-fill the segment with the last 30 days. So it'll go back 30 days, but it's going to track into the future. It's going to build a bucket that will, in the future, build up to 540 days. Now, if you, now this is going to get your subscribers in the last period of time, but if you also want to get people who viewed your video, people who liked any video, you can set all of these up as well. So liked your videos, viewed any video. This is going to get your viewers, likers, and subscribers, and you can build up each of these audiences, then click continue. You do that for each type of audience, and that will build up your YouTube audiences as well.
Awesome. Okay.
But once you've done that, the next step is going in here and actually creating the campaign. That's what we're going to focus on because that's where we can really dive into what's going to be the best to target. So we're going to go ahead and click new campaign. And what we want to do is because again, this is more of a lead style funnel. If you're more e-commerce, you might click sales over here. But for us, we're going to go into leads. And then you can see it brought up some of our existing goals. These are, again, some of the ones in this account. Adam would have his own. You'll have your own. But you can see here it's tracking signups, booked appointments, and purchases, right? Yeah. And so what we want to do is click continue. And so this is where you'd add the goals if they don't already exist. You'd use that kind of goals and conversion setup that we talked about a second ago.
And
so
with my accounts, because they're messy, would I go through and I would delete all the conversion goals I don't want in this campaign? So get rid of all the other ones from previous campaigns and just stick with the ones sign up, appointment, conversion, etc.
Exactly. Cool. So as an example, we would remove this lead forms. We're not going to do this as a lead form ad. We'd remove, I don't know what this other one is, but we're going to remove that. Yeah. And so we just want to do signups, booked appointments, and purchases.
Awesome.
Exactly. And then we'll go ahead and click continue. Then down here, we're going to go to video because this is going to be our YouTube ad. And then we're going to go to continue here as well. And then what I like to do is, just try and organize, the campaigns a little bit. So you see how it puts the date right here at the end. I want to actually remove all of this, have the date at the beginning. I like to do that. Then after the date, typically what I'll do is I'll say like what funnel it is and then what targeting it is. So in this case, it could be the agency growth accelerator.
Yeah, agency accelerator.
Agency accelerator. Yeah. Perfect. Agency accelerator. And then we'll do a little dash. And then for this dash, we would put particularly, what like kind of type of audience we're going to target. I'm going to kind of show more audiences. So we're just going to have this one be all audiences. But let's say you had a few different campaigns. Yeah. Sometimes you might want to separate out, okay, I'm going to do more intent-based targeting based on searches, URL targeting on this campaign. Right. Sometimes you might branch that out a little bit. You might also do different ads. So if that's the case, you might say, ad series 1, and then there might be a second series. Yeah. Right. So essentially, that's the naming convention, just to keep it organized, right? So it's the date, what the funnel is, the audiences, and then the set of ads that you might be using. We're going to skip over lead form. What we've found is that this isn't really going to be the best way to drive more direct response from your ads. You can get really like low cost leads with this, but the quality just isn't the same as sending people to your own training. We want people to go and sign up right off the bat. So we're not going to use a lead form here. And then with locations, this is a good example. So Adam, what are kind of like the core locations? Are you doing, maybe US and Canada, or like what's kind of the main targeting that you have?
Yeah. So the main one's definitely US, followed by Canada, followed by UK, followed by Australia, New Zealand, Ireland. So it's that quintessential main English-speaking countries that we start with, especially for, say, testing a new campaign. We would essentially start probably US-based unless we knew, like, again, with, say, Facebook and Snapchat ads and TikTok ads and that, there's different prices that we'll pay for different countries. US is almost always our cheapest, best cost per lead, cost per acquisition. And then we start paying premiums depending on the other platforms. So I don't know, if there's a preference, as long as we're going after English-speaking countries?
Yeah, so you could do exactly either way. And I think with this video, like, it is a good idea to actually start off with either United States or United States and Canada. Yeah. I wanted to also show like how you would enter other locations if you were to add it, but you are head on there too with starting off with US and Canada is something we like to do as well.
Okay.
So if you were to add other countries, you would go down to enter other locations. You could start adding in UK, some of these other places. But I do agree, starting off with United States or United States and Canada is going to be good just to get those initial results right off the bat.
Right
so
on.
let's just say we're going to start with the United States.
Yep.
And then one thing that we do want to do is even targeting United States or English speaking countries, we do want to go down here to languages and actually target people based on the specific language. So we do want to target based on English. And so the reason for that is even in the United States, not necessarily everybody speaks, perfect English or English is like the main language that they're going on. So this can actually save you a little bit of budget by targeting English speakers only with these ads, because you're going to target people that are watching YouTube in English that are actually, kind of English speakers.
Awesome.
Then from there, we're going to get into the next step that's actually going to be, a really important distinction here. And this is the first time that we're really going to veer off from what Google is trying to get us to do so that we can get better results. So Google here wants us to do maximized conversions, right? And what we want to do is we want to change this to target CPA, target cost per action.
Interesting.
And here's the thing, right? With your maximized conversions, what this is essentially doing is giving Google a blank check to spend whatever you set as your daily budget. Let's say we're spending a $50 daily budget, right? This is kind of giving Google a blank check to spend $50 and get as many conversions as, possible within that amount.
Right.
But there's no real limit to, or maximum that you're willing to pay. And so what we want to do is we want to put a spending cap. So instead of saying, hey, Google, here's $100 a day or $50 a day, go get me as many conversions as possible. What you're going to say is, hey, Google, I want to go and spend $50 a day, but I want to set my target CPA. And Google's going to tell you to set it pretty high. But what I know from experience is, in this type of thing, what you might want to do, and again, this is where it's going to vary depending on the person, but we would look at what is your potential target CPA? What are you used to getting? And then put that or maybe about $5 more, because typically what your real CPA is usually a little bit less than this target CPA.
Right.
Is what Google likes to keep it. So Adam, for you, what kind of target CPA are you typically seeing, or you're kind of used to or looking for? I can also share some insights too, but on your side, I'm curious.
Right on. So I'd be curious to hear yours as well. From ours, we're looking at, again, for this funnel, we'll say like $10, $15 for an opt-in. We could go a little bit higher depending on, again, it's funny because coming from, say, the other platforms that are less search intent based, which I think is one of the biggest differentiators here that we've got to really drill home, is coming from somewhere like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all the other ad platforms where we're putting things in front of them and hoping someone bites. We have to naturally pay less because the quality of the lead is going to be lower. So there, I'm looking at especially for say a VSL opt-in, I'll pay $10, $15. For a straight up lead magnet download, I'm looking at $2, $3, $4 max because we're just going to need so many of them. So here, I don't know, $15, 10, 20.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's gonna depend based on the individual business, but I always like to start a little bit lower and then build up from there. I would say, and I also like to bid a little bit more than what I think other people will, because this is a real bid.
Right.
So you're going into the auction with Google and it's saying, okay, you're bidding, let's say $11 or $16. Those are probably one of the two kind of initial ones I would recommend to start off here. And then typically you'll go up about $5 if it's not each kind of 3 or 4 days that it's not spending or it's not, getting actual traction.
Okay.
So what I would say is it depends on if you are kind of concerned about getting if for some reason you wanted to kind of start quickly, then I would say, okay, let's start off at $16. But if not, then I would say, let's start at 11 and then let's move it up to 16 and then let's move it up to 21 if needed and so on and so forth.
Okay, cool.
Now, this is a good place to potentially start. I think with going to the VSL, it might be better, as an example, let's say an example of $16. But what I would probably recommend for you particularly would be to start at 11, run it for a few days, see if that, gets the leads that you're looking for. If it doesn't spend, then I would increase that TCPA $5, give it another 3 to 4 days if you need to increase it again. And then that's finding the kind of minimum target CPA that we can set to get conversions coming in from Google.
Got it. And for budget-wise, I guess this is obviously target CPA, not just daily budget. Do we have the same things that Facebook does where it's like we can't move it by more than 5% or 10% or this or that? Or are we a little more free to adjust our budgets and our target CPAs without like throwing the algorithm into a blender?
So we're a little bit more free to adjust budgets.
Okay.
Target CPAs does cause a little bit more, especially if you lower it.
Yeah.
Right. So the interesting thing is Google is actually pretty quick at increasing, your being able to increase your budget faster than Facebook.
Yeah.
But I've seen, it's more general diminishing returns on Google versus on Facebook.
Yeah.
You could increase just too much and then it kind of goes haywire.
Yeah.
On Google, it's more that as you really scale up, you might see some degree of diminishing returns, as with any type of marketing.
Yes.
But it shouldn't go crazy.
Okay.
Where you do see some problems is if you scale back, right? So I don't know. I don't write the rules. You could put a conspiracy theory in place there, but basically Google doesn't like seeing you decrease the amount of money you're spending.
Yes.
So I always like to approach it as, yes, you can increase a little bit faster than other platforms, but just make sure that you're confident that things are optimized, that you're getting the results that you want before you increase it. So optimize, then scale is always what I would recommend, for us doing like direct response.
Yeah. Very cool.
Again, let's just say it's 16 here, but again, like you would probably potentially start off with 11, but let's just use this as an example, because it might need to go to 16, just knowing my kind of knowledge. Might be a little bit more expensive over here on YouTube for that initial lead, but the quality and also the view through, like the view rate of people actually watching that training, if you think about it, people on YouTube, they're already watching videos.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more likely to then go and actually watch that next video. Whereas on Facebook, you might get people to sign up for it, but they might not actually consume that content right away and they might forget about it.
Yeah.
Email deliverability rates, are always in flux. And so you want to really see if you can get people to watch the training right then and there.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
In terms of your budget, now Google is going to recommend, again, this is another big thing that they say, they're going to recommend setting a budget that is, basically like 8 times or more, or actually it's like 10 or 20 times or more, what your like bid is, your target CPA.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily needed in what we have found.
Okay.
The one hard and fast rule is you definitely need to have your budget be higher to some degree than the target CPA.
Right.
So what we wouldn't want to do is we definitely would not want to do $15 budget. That would not work. That wouldn't compute.
Yeah.
But even doing something like a $25 budget off of a $16 CPA can potentially work. I like to give it a little bit more breathing room. So let's just say it's going to be $50.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't need to be 10 or 20 times more.
Okay.
This is, Google trying to get a little bit more spend here. But ultimately, I think that this is doing a disservice, because if you launch this campaign and it doesn't quite get the exact results day one that you wanted, then you're now all of a sudden at a much higher budget.
Yeah.
I recommend starting small, optimizing, then scaling when you have a winner.
Yes.
Which is going to be the best way to go.
Love it. Yes, that's very much my philosophy as well. Especially, I don't know about you, but when I can't run my own ads, because I can be totally objective with other people's ads and look at the numbers, but I see mine and we set, say, 240 a day and we run that puppy for a few days and you get no leads. That thing's coming off, whether I know I should let it go or not. Like my gut is like, I just can't watch the bleeding of the money. So yes, I like starting small.
Exactly. And then it also shows you where you have a little bit more traction. So if you start small and you have multiple audiences in one campaign, or you have multiple campaigns, and typically this is another important thing to share. I always recommend launching with really 2 or more campaigns.
Okay.
So we're going to show you how to set up one. But the reason I would recommend 2 or more is because you always want to have the control and then the ability to beat the control. So
Right.
you don't know if your ad campaign, let's say you launch one, you don't know if this campaign is the best campaign ever, worst campaign, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Right? If you only have one campaign.
Yes.
What you want to do is you want to always have at least 2 campaigns running. So let's say this is a $50 campaign. We might have another $50 campaign. We're now testing them against each other.
Awesome.
So you have one campaign going over here, one campaign going over there, and you're seeing which ones are going to perform. And if one doesn't perform as well, you just cut that one. You now launch another one, see if that will be. Now, there's things you can do to optimize inside the campaign. So you're doing that, but you're also comparing the campaigns versus each other. And
Perfect.
when we get to the audiences, I'll talk a little bit about what you could look to do to separate out and segment out different campaigns. Usually it'll be, we'll create one campaign towards this kind of idea of an audience or this type of audience targeting, and then we'll create another one that targets a different kind of market.
Magic.
Or different
Okay, perfect,
segment.
perfect. Sounds good. Okay, so we've got budget. That sounds good. That's set. I like all that. Easy there.
Excellent. So now you can see, again, I also recommend going in and kind of manually watching these campaigns, not necessarily setting an end date, because you don't want to be endlessly pushing out end dates and stuff like that. I would just, run it as a daily budget and then go in and if you need to turn it off, you can go ahead and turn that off.
Awesome.
Now, in terms of some of the networks, it's going to be running by default now, not just on YouTube, but also on the display network as well. Now, there are a few things that we can do to optimize and increase the performance there a little bit by excluding certain mobile apps. We're going to get to that in a second when we get to exclusions.
Okay, perfect.
Now, down here with site links, this isn't necessarily going to be the most important thing on a YouTube ad versus like search ads or other things like that. However, it is a valuable tool that you can use. And so in this case, what we can do is we can create site links here that are going to display underneath the video if it's on mobile, right? So if people are watching the video on mobile vertical, it's going to appear there. There's also some other places that it'll appear as well. This is not the biggest make or break, but it is something that is good to have and can increase the conversions. Perfect. So this is the first thing that we'll do here. Now, just because my Google Ads account is like linked with my, this is not our main account, it's a dummy account, but it's linked with my URL. I'm not going to put your URLs in there. I don't want to mess anything up here, but we can use your information. Cool. So for the text, what we can do is, get, watch the agency accelerator, or actually, this is going to be the site link. So down here is watch the agency accelerator video training on how to scale your agency, how to scale agencies. So again, you got to play within that frame there. Yeah. And then for the site link, we might do free video training or free agency training. And so that's going to be a site link that appears there, and then there'll be some descriptions. Awesome. And again, for this, I'm just going to use ad outreach, .com slash alpha AI, right? Which is just one of our trainings, but you would obviously put your
Perfect. Okay, interesting. And so it's like, so there's site link 1, and then site link 2, is it going to provide a variation, or is it going to show like alternate, almost like dynamic creative, or are they showing 2 at the same time?
So it's going to automatically optimize to show different ones. Now, this isn't the main call to action, so we're going to be editing that when we actually get to the video. Yeah. So I will say that this asking us for site links now, this is a lower, less important piece, but it is something to add because it can boost your conversion. So this is going to kind of appear on mobile, like underneath. It's going to appear sometimes in different places. It just depends on where the ad serves. Yeah. But on the main YouTube ad on desktop or horizontal, it's not necessarily going to show up. Cool. You're going to see kind of the quicker call to action. So this is only going to appear in some places. What I like to do is I don't want to create any kind of confusion here by driving to a call or something that's different or skipping steps. I want to kind of create the illusion of choice. So this might be free agency training, and this one might be watch the case study.
Yes, got it.
But they just go to the same place. Yes. And so you could send it to the same URL. Sometimes if Google says, hey, use a different URL, you could just do question mark and then do whatever, because it's not going to add that in. Yeah. A little trick there. And then, get the case study on how to scale your agency.
Perfect. Got it.
And then you can add a couple more site links if you want, but it recommends at least 2 because only 2 would really show up there underneath in general, but you can add a couple more if you so choose. And so then you can kind of add these in. So those are the site links. Okay. Now we're going to go into additional settings, and we're going to save you some money right off the bat here. Magic. So about 5 to 10% of your budget can be saved by excluding TV screens. So we're going to go to set specific targeting for devices. We're going to go in and we're going to exclude TV screens. What this is going to allow us to do is exclude anybody who is watching YouTube on a TV. Now, they do have connected TV where you could be watching YouTube on a TV. You might have your phone and then it'll say, hey, do you want to click the CTA? It'll pop up on your phone. You've probably seen that. And that's cool. It's just, it doesn't convert as well as, you know, like computers, mobile phones, tablets.
Yeah.
Also, people are in less of a consumption mode. So on TV, they might not be in as much of a learning mindset. They might be more in an entertainment mindset, right?
Yes.
So we've just found computers, mobile phones, tablets, we target that.
Okay, got it.
We don't do a ton with the devices down here, but again, it is going to depend on your offer, you know, and things like that. Frequency capping, this is where we want to cap only the view frequency. This is also going to depend. There's no real like major reason to cap the impression is what I found, and I don't like to do that as much. Now, Google's changed the way that it like, it's more algorithmic now, you know, so this used to matter more in the past. But, you know, typically with view frequency, that's when people are actually watching the ad, but they've decided maybe not to take action. So you might want to set a certain frequency cap. Typically, what we might do is on a per month basis, kind of cap it at 3 like views.
Okay.
Now, this is not impressions. This is views.
Yeah.
This is somebody who's watching that video. Now, Google defines views differently now. It used to always be 30 seconds. Now it might be 10 or 30 seconds, depending on the, you know, where the ad serves. But ultimately, what this shows me is that in this campaign, we're giving kind of 3 shots for somebody to actually engage with the ad and not skip. And if they've done that 3 times, all right, we'll try again next month. It's the way that I look at it.
I like
Impressions, though, I'll have the ad show up all day, every day.
Yes.
And then they skip it until they watch.
Yeah.
But if they've watched it 3 times, that's, you know, that's we don't want to spend too much, right?
Yes,
So that's
I like it.
We don't really play around with the ad schedule as much. Again, it's going to depend on if you're running like webinars or things like that. There's a certain schedule. You might go and change that. Third-party measurement's a whole nother, you know, can of worms. I do, you know, recommend porting back offline conversions using, you know, some type of third-party tracking. It is going to help your ads. It's also something, though, that shouldn't be a, you know, something that you don't start because you feel you need that. It is something that's going to improve things in the future, but I would just start, you know, and start running ads and then get to that problem.
Cool.
Video enhancements. All right, this is a new one we got to turn off. So video enhancements is Google and YouTube taking your horizontal video and turning it into a short form video automatically. Now, this is the type of thing that like sounds kind of good on the surface, but really it's not what you want. Because essentially what this is going to do is it's going to use like their like own kind of algorithm to automatically create a short. It's not going to be the best experience. Maybe you've seen some of these ads pop up. They kind of feel unnatural. You don't know why this is popping up in YouTube Shorts. We want to remove this. So we want to remove the ability to allow Google to generate enhanced versions of your video. They do a lot of stuff to make it sound like it's good. But it's actually going to like we found it does the opposite of what it's saying. It can actually like harm your conversions. The only exception is maybe you have an e-commerce product. You have kind of more of like a simple video. Maybe you could do a good job there. But especially for the types of videos we're talking about, you want to turn this off.
Got it.
Excellent. Then down here, in terms of the ad group, I actually don't do a whole lot to change the name. We do things more, and the way Google works is more on a campaign basis. So we just do one ad group per campaign. Unlike Facebook, well, Facebook kind of has the 2 different versions of CBO, but then kind of the classic, right? The standard that a lot of people use is the ad group. You know, with Google, it's all campaign, right? It's like all based on the campaign. And so we just do one ad group in the campaign. And then if we want to test different audiences, test different series of videos, we'll just set up more campaigns with their own ad group. In each campaign.
Perfect.
All right.
That's actually significantly better because it makes things, one of the hardest things I think people have when it comes to running, well, especially through anyone that uses sort of the hierarchy of like the Facebook ads, is you'll have like one campaign and 3 ad sets and 2 ads, and it looks like this pyramid from just a nightmare scene. And then like, well, this ad goes with that campaign with that ad set, but you got CBO and the ad set. It's just it's a nightmare.
Exactly. And it gets all over the place. And so this is a lot easier to manage, and it makes it a lot more simple to see, okay, I've got these different campaigns. And then inside of that campaign, you could have multiple videos, multiple audiences. You could optimize that. We'll touch on that as well. But here's what we're going to do. So what we want to do is we want to go in and actually build out the audiences. And this is the targeting. This is, you know, the big piece of this side of things is targeting your ideal clients with your YouTube ads. So you're going to go here and you're going to add an audience. And Google's made some changes to this, right? So, in the past, there used to be the ability to go in and do more direct content targeting. Maybe some of you watching remember this, and you obviously remember this, Adam. You'd go and you target direct videos or channels, placements, things like that. Maybe even search terms like, specifically there. With this, now it's more audience focused. So it's based on what that person has done on all of Google and all of YouTube. What are they doing recently? Are they doing certain Google searches, going to certain websites, all of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to build an audience, and we're going to build an audience that has multiple different segments built in.
Okay.
And so this audience is going to be kind of a collection. This is like one base idea of an audience.
Okay.
What we might do is we might create like one audience that has multiple segments in it, and that's this in this campaign. So one kind of audience group. Inside of it, there's sub-audiences, right? There's sub-custom segments.
Yeah.
And then we can optimize that on this campaign basis. Then in another campaign, we can create a whole nother audience segment idea. So in this case, we can do, kind of an agency, we'll just call it an agency accelerator audience.
Yeah.
Right. These are kind of, and I also like to put the date here too. So this is going to be 2024-01-08. So then this is going to be kind of like an agency accelerator audience, or actually, let's name it a little bit better. Let's name it interested in growing an agency, audience, right?
Okay.
Because that way, maybe you could do another audience in the future that's people that are, utilizing, ClickFunnels or utilizing these different software tools or whatever it happens to be, right? So this is one that's going to be more specific, that audience, and then you could create other audience groups as well.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, perfect.
So now here's where a lot of people, they go down here to these interests and detailed demographics, and they'll go in and they'll use the base audiences. So people interested in advertising and marketing services. Right. Or SEO, SEM, or, for this, it could be business consulting, right? Or there's like a bit, business kind of like type thing. And so anyways, like, or business services, business education, things like that. Right. But that is the baseline results. Right. And I'm not saying not to necessarily test this. And if you wanted to test this, I'd probably recommend putting it more in its own audience grouping. Okay. What we want to do instead is we want to build custom audiences up here. Okay. So I do want to share, there's a few different ways to target audiences. I'm going to focus on custom segments because that's what's unique about the strategy that I want to show you is how to build that. But I also want to be complete here. You can go in and target kind of these detailed demographics. In this case, if we look up business, there's kind of business education. Like kind of people who have started a business. There's some of these different things here. People in the market for advertising and marketing services, business services. But you see how none of the business education is probably the closest here. Yeah. None of this is actually perfectly like somebody who wants to business opportunities, right? But none of this is really exactly people who want to start an agency.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I think it's funny because for anyone watching this as well, I guarantee this question comes up, where it's just I don't see the segment that says people that are interested in starting and or growing an agency to 10 to 20K a month. And so it's I guess I'll just pick marketing services and then spend hundreds of dollars and get nothing back.
Exactly. And that's why we want to focus on custom segments to actually target the people that are looking those things up. And show that they're genuinely interested in that. Right. Now, the one last thing I want to show you before we get into that is that you can also do data. So if you have your YouTube channel built in, you can go into your website. So obviously retargeting, you can go and target website visitors, in customer list is something you do have to hit a few different milestones inside of Google to get that activated. But once you do, you can upload those. But YouTube users is an opportunity too. You can go in and target people that, have, and this, we've used this for a lot of different things here as demos, but you could target people that have viewed your YouTube channel or have subscribed to your channel. So you can go in here and you can go to subscribers, and this can be really valuable for you, is you could go and target your subscribers, or people that have liked your videos or watched your videos. And so if you have a big YouTube channel like you do, Adam, this is a really good low-hanging fruit. And what I would do for this one is I would add all, these different YouTube audiences and have a audience group called, YouTube audiences, right? And then this would be a campaign. So this would be the campaign with the YouTube audiences, the audience group, and then you'd have multiple audiences in here.
And the audiences would be like subbed, watch the video, like the video. I just chuck them all in there?
Yes, because then what we'd be able to do is see which one's performing. Now, for you might want to just do like subscribed or liked a video, not necessarily watch.
Right.
People who are a little bit smaller, though, they might need to add the view to video because the subscribers might not be as big of a bucket, right? Right. So for you, I would just go kind of up the, it's like
narrow it down a bit.
Or people who are liking your videos, right?
Yes.
And you can also do a certain time frame with that too. So now we're going to show how to actually build these custom segments. So this is the big part where we're actually going to be able to go and target people based on what they're searching for, what they're looking up, websites they're going on, what they're interested in as an audience.
Awesome.
So we're going to go over here to custom segments, and we're going to go to new segment. And then this is going to allow you to go in and build these segments. But what I want to show you is actually a little bit of an easier way to kind of actually make this process a lot simpler using AI. I'm going to walk you through this, but before we can do that, I got to give you the basics.
Cool.
So essentially there's a few different types of audiences. There's people that have specific interests or purchase intentions. So people who are potentially interested in, growing an agency or scaling an agency, things like that. That's interests that Google knows about them. So they're interested in this type of thing. Then you can target people who have searched for terms on Google or YouTube. So you see how it says on Google properties, that includes Google, YouTube, any major Google property there. And so you can target specific search terms that people are looking for, like how to grow my agency. You can also target people who go to specific websites and URLs. So maybe there's a competitor URL, but we'll also show, maybe complementary sites. So if they're going to maybe a tool that agencies use or a software, right? We can target people based on that. And then also apps people have installed on their phones. So there's a few different ways to go and target people. I will say that the apps is probably the lowest performing of the few, especially with iOS updates. But with these other ones, they're really powerful. So the interest and purchase intentions, the search intent, and then also the website audience, those are all going to be really strong.
Cool.
Now you might be asking yourself, well, how do I go and find what to target? And that's what a lot of people were asking us. And it used to be this kind of manual process, take hours and hours and hours, really long time. And so what I did about 3 years ago, I set out to actually develop a software called Keyword Search that does AI ad targeting for your YouTube ads. And what I'm excited about is, a full, 5-day, unlimited trial. If you're watching this video, we'll post that link down below. So you can follow along completely for free for that, the 5 days you get full access to walk through how to actually create these audiences inside a keyword search. So we'll post a link down below. It's keywordsearch.com. And I'm going to show you how we can use AI to actually find out who's looking for your ideal audience on YouTube, on Google, and find those different websites.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and log in. All right. So inside of keyword search, we've made this process pretty easy. You can see that we can actually create a Google Ads audience using information about your business, an existing keyword list, competitors, even just copying and pasting your ad copy or your script from your YouTube ads. So there's a few different ways to do this. We're going to use the business information version. I will say some of the other options are a little bit more in-depth. So you might get more specific answers, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to use this as an example just to show what's possible. But I would recommend diving into some of the other ones as well.
Cool.
So with this, it's Agency Accelerator. What's the URL for that?
The website is agencyaccelerator.io, but it automatically forwards to a landing page for a lead magnet, but it still has a pretty decent amount of information on it. So it might actually work for us anyway.
Okay, great. As long as it has some information on this site, it's going to be able to scrape that. Like it's going to get that information. We do still want to describe it though. So how would you describe in a couple sentences, Agency Accelerator, the unique selling proposition, who that ideal client is, just kind of some details about that.
So I'll just riff some thoughts and we'll jam it in there. So it's a program designed to help agencies start and or scale successful, wildly profitable agencies of their very own. Less than a program, it's more of a collection of systems that we install alongside the agency owner that helps them with identifying the most profitable niche, creating irresistible offers, packaging and positioning their services. We have a collection of proven client acquisition methods and systems that we use. What else would fit? We could keep going, but that's probably good. So essentially, the end goal is to help you get your agency to 10 to 20K a month and sign your next 5 to 10 clients, guaranteed.
Excellent. So we gave a lot of details over here. And what we want to do is take all of this information and then click generate audiences. And what this will do is it will use AI to go in and build out and find what the different interests, audiences, search terms, and all of that we have based on these ideal clients, right? So what are they going to be looking up? What are their interests? What are the search terms? What are the websites they might be going on? And all of that. All right, so as you can see, what it's done is it's found all of the different interests, what people are potentially interested in. It's found different search terms that they're looking up on Google, on YouTube. It's categorized them together. So we're going to be able to use these to build out audiences. You can see here, figuring out, okay, how to generate leads, how to grow an agency, right? Digital marketing courses, right? How to find the different trends, all the different websites that people may be going to, how to start a Facebook ads agency, right? How to create an agency, all of these different sites and articles they might be reading. We'll show you how to build an audience on that in a second. And then also potential apps they might be using. So if these are, advertisers, they might be using Meta ads, they might be using some, Google ads, some of these different softwares. And then also potential, YouTube channels as well. And no doubt your channels probably, we scroll here, going to be in here too. So there's opportunities to go and target people based on all of these.
Right.
And so what we want to do is want to build out these different audiences. Let's start with interest. These are the in-market and interest, what people are interested in. So you can see here, maybe business coaching isn't like, well, actually it could be business coaching for themselves.
Right.
But definitely the digital marketing. So business coaching, I would, potentially put in there Facebook advertising, entrepreneurship, Facebook marketing, lead generation, the interest in marketing agency, online advertising. Really all of these kind of apply. The business coaching is the one where maybe not.
Yeah.
So I would say let's probably leave that one out for now as just an example.
Okay.
And so let's take all of these, and this is going to be an audience. Now, one thing that we can do is we can actually copy these and, put it into that audience over there.
Yeah.
There's actually an even better way, which is to sync it directly to Google Ads. So all we got to do is click sync to Google Ads. And then you can see we've got Agency Accelerator custom interests. And then what this is going to allow us to do is actually sync this audience. So we can get rid of some of this here. We'll just call it Agency Accelerator custom interests. Click create Google Ads custom segment. And then this is actually going to sync directly over to Google Ads. So now we've got that Agency Accelerator custom interest here. And then what we're going to be able to do is now also build in another audience. So that's the interest in in-market audiences. Now what we want to do is go in and build what people are searching for on YouTube and Google.
Okay.
So these are the actual search terms that people might be looking up on Google. So let's scroll down and you can see we've got our marketing agency growth, and we can find all of these different search terms that people are looking up around a marketing agency. So our marketing agency is growing, how to grow a marketing agency, how to get more leads, how to build a 7-figure agency. These are looking pretty good. This is kind of an odd question. Is owning a marketing agency profitable, right? We can get in front of them and show them the yes.
Yeah.
How to grow in marketing career. So maybe not that one. And then how to grow a marketing business.
Yeah.
Now, if you want, you can always expand, find a few more, but we're going to use these to start.
Yeah.
And so what we can do is we can either copy these over or similarly sync this up with Google Ads directly as an audience. Rid of all this. And then we're going to go ahead and click create Google Ads custom segment. And that'll build out that audience as well.
But like we're building these like layers, essentially. They're not separate audiences, it's like a super audience.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we're doing now, what this is doing though, is it will segment out which of these audiences are performing, right? So you're going to be able to see, okay, specifically a breakdown of how the interest audience is doing, how the search terms are doing, how the URL audiences are doing, and then go and potentially optimize based on those as well. So we're actually going to be able to see each custom segment and how they perform individually.
Okay.
And so what we're doing is we're kind of building a general group of different audiences.
Yeah.
And then what we can do is we can go down another search and find even more, separately. So
okay.
Now let's go down and let's grab some URLs. So how to create a Facebook ad agency in a few steps.
Yeah.
Strategies to start an agency, right? Like how to grow the agency. Like there's a variety of these different ones here. And you can see we can grab a few of these different URLs that people are potentially going to. We're going to avoid YouTube because that's a separate thing. So we're going to go and grab more of these specific sites. How to create an agency, how to start a Facebook ads agency, 21 Facebook, not advertising tips, 9 ways to get more clients for agency.
Yeah.
And you can keep scrolling through and find more of these.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can sync this as a URL audience.
Okay.
So we're going to be able to call this agency accelerator URL audience. Get rid of all this here. And then we'll go ahead and sync that as well.
Okay.
All right, so now we have these 3 audiences here. Now, you can actually add more audiences. You could do some that are built on apps, different YouTube channels, different related search terms here. So you can see we can grab some around Facebook ads agency or online lead generation or client acquisition, right? These are all pretty good opportunities. For the purpose of this video and just kind of, the length of the video, we're just going to stick with these 3, but there's a lot more opportunities to add more here as well.
Is there a sweet spot that we want to shoot for, or is it like 3's good, 5's good, 10's good?
Yeah, so I would keep it 3 to, kind of really to 3 to 7.
Okay.
Probably 5 being a sweet spot. We'd probably add maybe a couple more with a little bit more time here, but I think that 3 is a good place to start. I probably wouldn't do much more than 7 in one overall audience.
Yeah.
Because you're also going to want to go in and see which ones are working, which ones aren't.
Yeah.
When you go and optimize it. So then down here, we can go in and exclude people that have already, opted in, things like that. We can build in exclusions. And then down here in demographics, this is where we do want to layer it. So, for you, this is going to depend obviously on different businesses, but what would you say is kind of the average age range that you're going after?
Yeah, the average age range is probably 25 to, we'll say 50.
Yeah, maybe 25 to 54.
Yeah, 25, 54. Yeah.
Perfect.
Average,
and then what we can do is we could also potentially exclude unknown here as well to kind of have it be more specifically in that age range.
Okay.
And then in additional demographics, you can play around with some of these as well. But one that I'd really recommend is household income.
Yeah.
Household income is really powerful here on Google. Unlike Facebook, that's more zip code based. On Google, it's more based on the actual data that Google has about each person.
Okay.
Right? Google's collecting all this data. That's how they do all this other targeting. They have so much data on everybody. We can really capitalize on that. So typically here, you might want to go top 10 to 20% and exclude unknown. I don't know if you had kind of a specific area in mind, but I'd recommend at least top 30%.
Okay.
Maybe top 10 or 20% for what you're looking to do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, top 10, top 20, top 30 would even work well. So
yeah, I think for you, actually top 30 could work well too.
Especially for the starting one. Yeah.
Yeah, starting off and scaling. But the thing to remember, always exclude the lower 50%. They have less than, for anything over like $100, right?
Yeah.
Those are people that have less than $1,000 in their bank account statistically.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we want to do is we want to exclude some of that as well. So we'll go to top 10 to 30%. We'll go ahead and click save, and that builds in an audience.
Awesome.
And you could do, multiple of these as well, in different campaigns. So I would do one kind of bigger audience. It's going to be segmented out. So when you actually go and review the ads, you're going to be able to see, inside of that audience, which specific segment is performing the best.
Awesome. And
now,
so
the next thing
one audience per campaign.
Yes, one audience, one collection of audiences.
One collection of audience, right, of all the things we did.
Campaign.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is kind of an audience, and then inside of it, they call them segments.
Yeah.
But that's not really to confuse you. It's, there's multiple segments, but in one kind of collective audience.
Perfect.
Then down here in optimized targeting, this is another thing where we want to turn this off, because this is just going to negate everything else that we did up here.
Yeah.
Which is, it's going to say, oh, we see you want to target this, so but we're going to optimize it to target people that might be similar to those people.
Yes.
It's like, this is something to test when this audience performs well. And we've now scaled it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Then we can say, okay, let's maybe add optimized targeting. I wouldn't even do it in that campaign. I would dupe the campaign, potentially add optimized targeting, see if you could scale it more.
Awesome.
Then down here in advanced settings, actually, oh no, we already did the other setting. So this is irrelevant anymore. I don't know why they still have it here. Anyways, we'll skip that. So optimized targeting. And then now we're going to go ahead and create that YouTube ad.
Perfect.
So I'm just going to use one of my ads as an example. It's our YouTube ads beat Facebook ads. advertisement. But of course, Adam, you'll do your ad, and then whoever's watching, you can create your own version.
Yeah.
So we're going to paste in this video here, and then we're going to put in the URL. Again, I'm just going to put in my URL here, but this can be the URL that you have as well. So we're going to go ahead and put in that URL, and then we're going to have a call to action.
Yeah.
So I like watch now for these types of things here. So watch now is a good one. That's going to appear like this. On desktop, it's going to appear right beside it. And then the headline can be agency training. I think will fit. Perfect.
Ooh,
there we go.
It's a sign.
So look at that. Agency training, watch now, click that link. And then you can have a long headline. So along these lines, this is what's going to appear, if it's more kind of like mobile in certain places, things like that. So for our long headline, we might put agency accelerator training, learn how to scale your agency. And then sometimes in terms of like putting in that 10, 20K, sometimes I can trick some triggers here.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I would just put learn how to scale your agency, or learn how to scale your agency to the next level.
Yeah.
Again, if we had more time, we'd probably workshop this headline a little bit more. And then for this, we watch the free training on how to scale your marketing agency, just like that. And then that's going to add in. And then what we can do is we can call this, and so this would be the first version of the ads. This could be ad hook number 1, right? And we're going to go ahead and add that ad. And once we do that, we can actually go down here. We can duplicate this, and then we can go and create another ad hook. So we can go into this one. We can delete this video, put in a different video, and then that would be ad number 2. And then you can basically do that to create the different ads.
And you would do that with, say, your like 12 different variations.
I would recommend sticking with 5 or 6.
Okay.
So what I would do is if you have 2 different educate sections, I would do one version of educate being one campaign. So that would be an ad series with the extended, the long educate. Yeah. And then you could do one with the 3, key features or 3 key ahas. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Got it.
And once that's done, we're going to click create campaign. And this is going to create our YouTube ad campaign. So we'll hit create, and then I will turn it off. So I think what we could do is I'll stop my screen share.
Cool.
And then I'll answer anything else. And we have like up to 10 minutes to wrap it up. And
perfect. Okay, cool. So quick question then. If I've heard these things about like running videos on your main channel. What we've noticed before is back in the day before I forgot to turn off allowing other people to advertise on my channel, I'd have people like run ads to my channel. The video would spike and then my organic reach would plummet. Do we run these ads on our main channel, on a second channel? How do we set that up?
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to run it on your channel, but as an unlisted video. Now, you can run it on another channel, right? But the thing that actually causes your YouTube organic results to not perform as well is running a public video as an ad. And the reason for that is that public video running as an ad, what that can do is a lot of people skipping that can potentially decrease that watch time and then harm the channel's organic growth, as you saw. But YouTube only is tracking what your public video stats are. So that's why you probably hear some people say, hey, don't run ads on your videos on your channel. Well, that's because you don't want to run ads on a public video for these in-stream ads. Now, there's a different type of YouTube ad that you can use to grow a channel called in-feed ads that appear search results and suggested videos. You can actually use to grow a channel if done the right way, right? That's a video for another time. Maybe if people want, let us know in the comments. We come back and talk about that type of video to grow a channel. But if that's not your goal and you're not specifically watching it for that watch time and all of that, then I would highly recommend having it be an unlisted video. Some people, they've been scarred before and they like, hey, I don't even want to have it on the channel. Now, that's not necessary, but that said, I do know people that they'll just run it as a secondary channel, and that is perfectly fine too. Especially because YouTube, people don't really click through to the channel like they do on Facebook, other places. It's not as huge of a deal if you just run it on a secondary channel. But you don't necessarily need to do that. You can still run it as an unlisted video on your main channel and not have that affect your stats.
Unlisted. Perfect. Okay, got it. Oh, that clears things up easier. And I can get rid of all of my ad account secondary channels that are just existing for the sake of it. Next thing, in your experience with everything you've seen, what's like the 80-20 when it comes to YouTube ads? Like, is it tone or content or targeting, or like if you're going to spend the most amount of time, where do you spend it?
Yeah, so it really comes down to the two big things, right? Which is going to be the ad itself and testing a few different variations of the ad, and then targeting and reaching the right people. And what we want to do is really create a framework that allows you to go and test multiple things rapidly. So with the ad itself, we want to test different hooks. If we had to film the entire video 5, 6 different times, you might not film as many videos, you might only film a few. So having the right framework, the hook, educate, call to action, a couple versions to educate, a few different hooks, 5, 6 different hooks, it allows you to rapidly test, because as you and I both know, especially people who are watching your channel here, like testing is the name of the game in marketing. So the faster that you can test efficiently with high quality tests, good different hooks to test, but then on the ads, you want to test different audiences. That's why keyword search allows you to like really kind of rapidly find different audiences and split test and say, okay, we've built this group of audience segments, and then we're going to see which ones work, which ones don't work. On the ads, and this is actually a great way to kind of wrap up this video here, is on the ads, what you want to do is once you launch that campaign, you want to be constantly monitoring. So if troubleshooting, if it doesn't run right off the bat, increase that TCPA. Even if in the future you lower it again, just sometimes to get kick-started, YouTube might need a higher TCPA to get started. So increasing that. But then if you're going in and you're not getting the number of conversions that you want, or you take a look at the campaign itself, you can see what videos are performing better than others. And even if you are getting the conversions you want to go in and still optimize. It can be even better. So go in and turn off the ads that aren't performing as well as the others. And then you can also go in and turn off the audience segments that aren't performing as well as others inside of the campaign as well.
Perfect. Actually, that was my next question, because with say Facebook ads, the last thing you want to ever do is touch anything inside of like an ad set or whatever it is. But here we can actually go in and further optimize, turning off ads, turning off ad sets, and letting them roll. Good. That leads me to my next question. When do we optimize? Do we let things go? Are we looking for, like, can we force it to show some? Do we just keep our hands off? Like, what if we don't get any conversions? When do we get our hands dirty?
Great question. So I like to wait 3 to 4 days and then dive in and optimize, because you got to give it a couple days really to like get some data. So really usually like 3 days and then dive in and analyze and optimize based on that. And then another, 3, 4 days. So that's like a week later, you're doing more optimization.
Cool.
If it's not getting traction after those after that initial optimization, then another phase, that's when you'd potentially go back and just launch another campaign. That's why, though, if you have multiple campaigns, right, you might have one that's going to perform really well, one that might not perform as well, and then a couple maybe in the middle that need to be optimized, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why having multiple campaigns with multiple videos and multiple audiences are going to give you more shots. But I would expect your results on average not to be the best ever results,
right,
but also not to be the worst ever if you're testing all these different things. What usually you're going to kind of see, you're going to have your darts different places on the board. You want to eliminate the outer rim. You want to eliminate the things that aren't performing as well, the hooks, audiences that aren't working well. Double down on what works the best. And then things kind of in the middle, you want to see, okay, how can I optimize these?
Perfect. My man. So with that said, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I've got some work to do. Third of all, I don't think people say that, but if they do, where do we find you? You're on YouTube. Obviously, we saw the channel. Good spot to subscribe and follow along. Where else?
Absolutely. That would be great. So in addition to the YouTube channel, you can also find me on adoutreach.com. The gift that I have for all of you as well, the YouTube ad strategy kind of PDF that walks through, is just adoutreach.com/gift. We'll link that down below. That's the PDF there. And then we also, of course, have keywordsearch.com. It's literally just keywordsearch.com. And you can sign up for that 5-day free trial of keyword search, which is plenty of time to get that initial ad campaign set up, sync those audiences, and get rocking and rolling there. And then, of course, you sign up to either of those, you'll see the opportunity to book a strategy call with our team if you want more hands-on help with YouTube ads as you're looking to scale.
My man. Well, once again, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, a big thank you to Erhart again for coming on to share all of these $1 million secrets for free with us today. I'll make sure to link up his info below. And if you're looking for even more strategies to help you grow your business and make more sales, well, I've linked up a video right here that you can tap or click, and I'll see you in there in just a second.